Okay.
Today on episode 10 on the Paranormal Show, we have paranormal news stories. One, I'm going to be discussing the fourth floor girls' hostel. That's going to be cool, so stay tuned for that. That'll be a lot
Of
of
course you are.
fun. All right, guys, thank you for joining us today. I am Roy, and I'm joined by my co-host and Apria team member Tom. And today we have a special guest, Shae, who's also a paranormal Reaper paranormal team member. And I just want to say, if you guys watch our other channel on YouTube called The Geek Perspective, Shae and I just took on the Peanut Brutal Challenge, and it is brutal. Go check it out. See how we did. We're still alive, so did we finish it? Check it out and find out. So how we all doing today?
Dandy, how are you?
How are you feeling, Shae?
I'm a little burny, but not too bad.
A little
I'll
burning.
recover.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a little burning too. Oh, that's a t-shirt. I'm gonna make that for a t-shirt. I'm a little burny. I'm not even kidding. I'm writing that down right now.
I like it.
So there was an interesting challenge today.
Yeah.
Interesting some words. That's
Yeah,
absolutely what it was.
That was. I wouldn't have been able to make it that far. Give you guys a lot of credit.
It was interesting, you know. So like I said, guys, if you want to see some challenges, check out our Geek channel. We also discuss some, all kinds of stuff. We discuss entertainment news, pop culture stuff, Funko Pops, all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out. But today we're here to talk about some paranormal stories. And I guess I'll kick it off since I'm already here open to it. We didn't discuss what we were doing because we'd just be yapping away earlier. So I'm going to jump right in here. So my story I found on the internet was the fourth floor girls' hostel. So the story happens in a Shae's got the giggles over there.
I do, sorry.
There was nothing wrong with a girls' hostel. I'd love to go to the girls' hostel.
I mean, because you're not a girl, so.
I'm glad you noticed.
I have. Yeah, very much not, I guess. I don't know what to say.
This is the most she's talked since I've known her.
No, it's really awkward. I'm going to just sit here and watch.
She met her speaking limit just now, guys, so she will not be saying anything else the rest of the show.
That's what I'm kept.
Yeah, she'll be texting us now. So basically, there are 4 girls living in their hostel in their dorm room. And to describe the room, it's a square room, and each corner has a bunk bed, which it's a semi-bunk bed, actually. And under the bunk bed holds a desk and a dresser, and the bed's on top. And usually the girls go to bed around midnight to 12 a.m. And one night, doing their usual routine, they get ready for bed and doing girl things, clowning around what kids do in school.
Pillow fights and
mooning each other, girly things.
All the normal stuff, yeah. Brushing each other's hair. And
hair. Hugging, all that.
Taking weirdly
stuff.
Public showers, yeah, all that stuff. That's all normal.
I have a shower story about massage I can tell you guys. I'll tell you guys later. But
wow.
So they were getting it's a good story. They're getting in bed and they turn the lights out and get ready to go to sleep.
Together, obviously, but
yes, yeah, together, of course. They're gonna share a bunk bed. Why wouldn't you?
Obviously.
Yep. So the lights turn off and they're giggling and cuddling and whatever they're doing. All of a sudden, they hear heavy footsteps running up and down the hall outside in the corridor. And this doesn't happen quite often over the course of the night. At first, they thought people were running around, clowning around, blah, blah, blah. But the sounds kept getting louder and louder. And then all of a sudden, someone or some things started banging on the door. And the banging got heavier and louder as they didn't answer the door. Mm-hmm. And then one of the girls actually yelled, "Who is it?" And then there was no response. And then all of a sudden, it went quiet. So one of the girls thought it was kind of strange and figured people were clowning around. Someone was goofing off, and they just wanted to go to sleep. So they're like, "What the hell?" So one of the girls gets up, goes to the door, unlocks it, and opens the door. And she looks. and there was nothing there. There was no one in the hall, no one to be seen, not a sound, nothing. And they just seemed like it was very odd. And they assumed that someone was playing a trick on them. Now, later that same thing happened to one of the girl's sisters when she was living in Taiwan. And this wasn't in Taiwan, this is somewhere in Europe. But her sister was going to school in Taiwan, and it happened to her. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Shae may have. But it seemed, the girl in the article said it seemed to happen around the so-called Hungry Ghost Month. Have you guys ever heard of that?
No.
I have never heard of that.
No, I never have.
She was saying over in Europe, there's a so-called Hungry Ghost Month. I don't know if that's something amongst kids.
Is it October, like the thinning of the veil for us?
Maybe. I was wondering if that's what it was, basically, like their own little tradition kind of thing. I have never heard of it. But as far as that story goes, what are you guys' opinion? Use guys' opinion.
I don't know.
I think if it is paranormal, I'm thinking maybe a mischievous ghost. Just kind of, hello, I'm going to be a little annoying. I'm here, kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I know there definitely are like certain times of the year where things are a little more hectic and stuff like that. So they may have had something to do with it, but it doesn't sound like it wanted to hurt anything. I feel like if it wanted to, it probably could have. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it was anything like demonic.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it was something demonic.
I mean, it was just banging and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, kind of mischievous, kind of. It's just like banging. I mean,
It's kind of being annoying.
Yeah, my first thought just goes to it's all girls hostel, some young, kid going through puberty, messing with girls, doesn't know how to flirt with them, and
that was my thought too.
Like you did in middle school, like you like a girl, so you try to wrestle her, and it's like, no, you should put a girl in the head. Like I never did it, but I saw like, why are you putting her in a headlock or whatever, dude? That's weird.
If you think about it, like it's not inconceivable. Kids, like you said, little boys, I don't know what grade they're in, but could be running up and down the halls. By the time you open the door, they're around the corner. They hear the door open. They'll say, "Oh, everybody, stop! Be quiet! Someone's out here." You know what I mean? So it's not unfathomable that someone could be running up into the hall. They hear the door open. They just stop and shut up.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happen. So yeah, that's my story. It reminded me of a story here. When my girlfriend lived here, where I live, I was hanging out with her one night. And she was telling me that upstairs, this was one night. During the day when she babysat for our mutual friend, that she would hear footsteps on the second floor, like heavy, heavy boots, not work boots, but cowboy boots. And it would be pacing back and forth. Well, the thing of it is, she was the only one here with the little kids. And the kids couldn't go upstairs because the door was locked to go upstairs. So one day I was off from work. So I was here hanging out with her. We're standing in the kitchen. I heard the footsteps. So I'm like, oh, one of my buddy's brothers are home. Let me check outside. No cars were here. But we continue to hear the footsteps. Now we're walking around the kitchen. Usually when stuff like that happens in the paranormal, the sound stops. We're walking around making noise. It was still happening. So I'm like, someone's upstairs. So I ran upstairs to where it was. There was nobody there. They would have had to gone past me to have gotten out of there. So there was literally nobody there. When I came down, I was like, all right, because I was teasing her about it. Like, dude, you're crazy. That did not happen. Or if it did happen, it was something, pipes or something. No, this was, I heard it myself. And it was literal footsteps. But the weird thing was, the whole upstairs was carpeted. So we shouldn't have heard footsteps as they were like on a wood floor. And that's what it sounded like. Heavy cowboy blues on a wood floor. Mind you, this house was farmland at one point, and Shae can attest to this with our next door neighbor. Because didn't you say that Shae had found out through our neighbor next door, because my buddy's family owned the house next door also, that a little boy. Did you say he was hung? You said you saw a little boy holding his neck, and you thought that maybe.
I know. I'm trying to remember. Honestly, I remember seeing the little boy, but I don't remember what the reason behind it was.
Yeah. I think
I feel like
he had his
maybe
hands around his
or
neck,
strangulation or something.
strangulation or something.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that it was a farmland, and it was. This area was all farmland because, matter of fact, their garage is actually a barn. Like they've had hay in there, like they found hay in there, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So like this was no doubt this was farmland. So it's not inconceivable. It could be a residual haunting as far as you know, and that could have been something that it could have been with the girls also, maybe something residual.
I find residuals are a lot of times to blame if it ends up being a haunting and not like a pipe or something like that. I find a lot of times it is a residual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're constantly hearing the same sounds, the same rolling, the same steps, the same sweeping, whatever it is. But
so Shae, you want to tell everybody what a residual haunting is?
Residual haunting is a haunting that's basically like a broken record. It's the being will follow the same pattern and do the same thing over and over and over again. Be it walking up the stairs whistling or sweeping the kitchen, it's just an endless loop, like a broken record.
So, backtrack a little. Cowboy boots. How does the sound differ from normal boots? Are you hearing like little spurs going ding 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 ding? Like what? I don't know the difference.
The way
I describe right?
Cowboy boots have more of a click. Work boots have rubber soles.
Okay.
So it's more of a thumping.
Oh, okay.
And cowboy boots are more of like Shae said it perfectly. It's more like a clack.
Okay.
You know, that makes sense.
It's like a tap shoe, but not really. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because like we've heard them upstairs and with work boots because this whole family wears work boots when they lived here, and it was like a clump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you're wearing a pair of shoes. That's more or less like a cowboy boots when you're wearing actual dress shoes.
Yeah. That's
the best way to describe it, I think. So that's my story, kids. No footsie or anything like that. No such luck.
So
what you got, Tom?
The news article that I took, it came out earlier this year. It was actually an incident that, for the most part, it had been taking place for years, but for the most part, really came into prominence in 2019. I tried to go with something. I'm trying to go with somewhat modern with our news episodes here. So this one, staying kind of on brand, is about a haunted doll. Again, if you've listened to or watched our episode on Robert the Doll, you know that.
Tom and his dolls.
We love you, Robert. We love you.
Yes.
I hate you, Robert.
Love you.
Robert, you're a beast.
Stop it, Roy.
Oh my God.
Come see me again.
Definitely check out that episode if you haven't heard it.
Yes, it's a very good episode.
It's some crazy things happened afterwards, so you should take a listen. But yeah, so this is a haunted doll. So it was a family in the Houston area bought their daughter Elsa doll. Elsa from Frozen. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. I guess Disney, I'm thinking. Disney movie, Elsa. It was a Elsa doll. And this was 2013. And the doll would recite phrases from the movie. It doesn't specify which phrases, but whatever. If you've seen the movie, you might know. And it would sing the song Let It Go when you pressed the button on the necklace. So.
Can you sing the song, Tom?
I've never seen the movie. Like I didn't even know it was a Disney movie until about 30 seconds ago. So, for about 2 years, the kid, played with it incessantly, driving the parents nuts between the phrases and then just the song going on and on and on over and over. But then in 2015, so about 2 years after the initial purchase, the doll started alternating doing the phrases in the song in Spanish and then in English. And there wasn't a button or anything to change this on the doll. Now, there are apparently, if you live in Spain and you bought a doll, you could get it to speak in Spanish, but this American version, there was nothing on there that they knew of, that no settings or no button, no override that you could switch it. And it was just kind of doing it randomly, just, English, sometimes Spanish. So, they thought it was weird, but, the kids they were playing with it a lot less. Kids are getting older. It's an older toy now. So, the family had, by 2019 had owned it for 6 years. And they had never changed its batteries to that point. But the doll would continue to, do the English and Spanish. And then it started to kind of switch on and off on its own, randomly. So the mother of the family, she started getting creeped out by it, understandably. Dolls are inherently creepy, and then a doll doing something bizarre is creepy. So she decided to throw the doll out in 2019. It was 6 years old, and kids are older, whatever. She's going to get rid of it. So, but then weeks later, she comes home, and the doll's sitting in their living room on a bench. Kids insist that they didn't pull it out of the trash. The mother doesn't think that they would, because it was kind of deep down in the trash, and she's like, the kids wouldn't do that. They wouldn't. She insists that they wouldn't have dug through the trash, because again, it was a 6-year-old doll. They weren't playing with it as much. Blah blah blah. So thought it was weird that it popped back up, and at this point, it would no longer sing in English. It was just singing in Spanish and doing the phrases in Spanish. So then the mother was like, F this. So she double bags the doll, places it, and makes sure to put it all the way at the bottom of the garbage, and she took it out to the curb on garbage day when the garbage man was out there. So the family goes on a trip. They come back from their trip. It doesn't specify the time frame here, but I'm assuming a couple weeks maybe. The doll's in the backyard. So the mother is freaked out, does not want to know what to do. So
pretty creepy.
So this time she contacts a family friend. Again, I had mentioned they were in Houston, in Minnesota. She's like, I gotta get rid of this doll. He's, Minnesota, a little bit, and this is not my wording. It talks to the guy who's, a self-proclaimed little bit of a redneck. So he's like, send it here. So she does. And he taped it to the front bumper of his truck, and he drives around with it on the front bumper of his truck. And as sort of her most previous post on the subject, which was February 2020, no new incidents on the creepy doll. So, thoughts?
I think it was pretty creepy.
Yeah, definitely creepy. Up until it showing back up at her house. That's I struggle with the mechanical aspect of like the dolls with the singing and stuff like that, because anything could go wrong, but it showing back up, that's like Chucky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thought exactly, Shae.
Yeah.
Like, it could be, with that type of thing, who knows? You know what I mean? They said there wasn't a button, but maybe there was. She didn't even know about it. Maybe they were, hitting something or whatever. It's a talking doll, anything there. But then it showing back up, that's what
That's a whole new thing.
Yeah, kind of creepy. But again,
Going out,
still,
moving around.
it doesn't say how old the kids are in 2019. I mean, so have either of you watched Frozen? No.
No.
It's a family kid movie.
Yeah, I don't know what the age range for the movie would be.
Kids, I would assume.
Because the only thing, maybe by 2019, one of the kids is older and he's doing it as a prank, to mess with the mother.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I've just thrown out an idea. I don't necessarily think that's what happened. I just a thought that crossed my mind. Again, don't know how old the kids were at any point in this. So
no,
it's yeah. Still creepy though. I saw that and I was like, "Oh, I got to do that." After the Robert episode, and talk and stay on. Like I said, dolls are just. I find dolls just creepy. Anyway.
I am 100% with you on that. My sister had the my buddy doll, and I would throw it in the garage. We had a door that led from the dining room into the garage. I would take it and throw it in the garage because little dolls, they can crawl into your bed. That's creepy.
Yeah. Have you seen Trilogy of Terror?
No.
That sounds familiar. I don't know if I've seen it.
It's like circa 1970 something. But it's 3 short movies, and there's one about this little voodoo doll looking thing, and it gave me nightmares when I was younger. It is makes you, even as an adult, if I watch it at all, I have to leave space between my feet and under my bed when I get off my bed for a little while, because
I'm going to guess that I probably didn't see it only because, like I said, I don't know for sure. My mother loved horror movies. So we would get old horror movies, or she would tell me about old horror movies, and we'd watch them when I was younger.
You probably saw it then.
So then we probably did. I don't remember it though, but chances are we probably saw it. My family's weird. My father is the intellectual type, which I love Friday the 13th, and those kind of movies, you don't watch them for like the.
No, you don't watch the
intelligence. It's a slasher film. It's about
the accuracy.
You'd be like, "There's no way that killer can go from that side of the woods to that side of the woods in 10 seconds." It's not like
that's what makes it fun.
Point.
Yeah,
right. That's not the point. So he's one of those people, and my mother was like me. Well, I'm like her, where we just enjoy a good slasher film, a horror movie, and And then my brother and sister, they wouldn't really.
When I was a kid, it's funny you say that because my father's not the intellectual type. Don't get me wrong, he's not at all. My mother's very smart. My father's not much, but as a kid, because I've always been into horror, even as a kid, even though it would freak me out, when I was younger and stuff. And she got into it because of me, and she would. We watch everything. I remember we watched that old TV series. I think it was called Wolf or Werewolf or something in the 80s and into the early 90s. It was really creepy. And
I know what you're talking about. I think it's just Wolf, right?
Yeah, I think it was just Wolf. Just Wolf. And my father wouldn't watch any of that. He just not that he was scared of it. Maybe he was, and he just didn't want to admit it. It's whatever. But yeah, just not into the whole horror. But my mother loved it. So, but yeah, that was my news article.
I have a news article. Can I?
Yes, please.
May I?
Please.
All right. So, I heard about this. Like a year ago, and this guy's name, he's 26, and his name is Kevin Ife, I-F-E, I think I'm saying it right, and they're in Britain. So in 2006, he started complaining of discomfort in his throat, and then he started acting funny, and he bit his father, he threatened to cut off his own male parts and stuff like that, so his family got scared and restrained him and proceeded to do their own exorcism on him, assuming that he was possessed by the devil or possessed by a demon. And they ended up actually killing him. And they were not charged.
Ooh. I always pick this article actually for this week.
Really?
Yeah, they were not charged. And he died of. I think he ended up having basically a heart attack, set on by dehydration. But
He didn't come back and kill them all or anything?
I mean, I would have.
That's a horror movie waiting to happen.
Yeah.
We need to write that story.
Yeah, it happened in North London in August of 2016.
There.
Jeez.
Yeah, I see it now.
That's insane.
But yeah, that one caught my eye. I just figured I'd bring that up and see what you guys thought about that. Like, I
I'm
don't.
glad you did because I almost picked that, and I was just like, and then I saw the doll, and I was like, I gotta go with the doll because of the Robert thing. But yeah, it's So in yours, because I'm kind of like reading through it as we're talking, did it say why the parents weren't charged?
No, all I'm seeing it's not because all I'm seeing is
7 family members cleared of charges in 2019.
yeah. I can assume that maybe the younger ones were cleared because they were the kids, but I can't find anything saying why the parents weren't charged. I found it so weird because I can't even they wouldn't get him help. They wouldn't get him like they wouldn't let like him be treated by professionals or anything. They just went right to its possession. Let's tie him up and let's do an exorcism without even trying to do anything for him.
Yeah, and then I'm just reading here. It said a post-mortem examination revealed over 60 wounds on his body, including a possible bite.
Yeah. So I mean, that could be. It says that he bit his dad and he did that other stuff. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he got angry and someone bit him back. I don't. It's just it caught my eye and it was just awful.
Yeah, because it's saying along with four of his brother, the father and 4 of his brothers also had injuries on them.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So he ordered. So the father told the jurors he ordered his son to take shifts and use overwhelming force, but denied that an association with cults, occults, and secret societies played any part in the death.
Huh. So what do they think was wrong with the kid?
It's in this
speculation
on the same page, probably, Shae, looking at this. It doesn't really give a ton of detail.
No. It's the most I've seen is that they, and again, there's a lot of different pages, but this the most I'm seeing is possessed by evil spirits, and that they set out to cure him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying as well.
So it's like the parents are the ones that are probably crazy.
Could be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And he could maybe, it's like, with mental disorders and diseases and
I'm trying to figure out like why to let the parents off. I mean, there's negligence there. I mean,
there's
laws in
so
Europe
much there.
Laws in Europe are so different than ours, though. In this country, they would have got it for negligence. They wouldn't.
I know their laws are different, but it's 2016. Like we've come.
Yes.
We've all come so much further than to just jump in and be like, oh yeah, no, it's fine.
But the laws are still obviously different because in this country they would have got negligence if nothing else. Because let's face it, that's negligence. You know what I mean? They should have at least gotten that. And I don't know. I don't know the laws in Europe, so I'm just speculating that they must be still on some old law because like they deserve something for what they did to the kid.
I mean, it happened in London. London's a major. It's not like we're talking like some little hamlet in
rural, yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't care. It's a big city. The government controls everything.
But I mean, I'm just getting at the point that it's like it's a modern society. To Shae's point, it's not like it's not like they believe in witchcraft there or anything.
There's no real laws though there.
I'm reading this too. When the police showed up at the house, his brother Colin allegedly carried out an attempted resurrection by praying and praying to bring him back to life.
right.
I
The
didn't
whole
see that
family's
one.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Well,
Holy Jesus.
I'm gonna guess the family was probably religious, which may have played into some sort of mental disorder, and I don't mean that in a derogatory. I suffer from them like
No.
more severe than like more like a schizophrenia or a severe bipolar type of.
Hmm.
Well, something that's happened here where you'd have the parents not wanting the child to get health care, but they want to have, it was more occult type stuff. They want to have, do prayer and blah, blah, blah. And the kid either gets taken away or when something's bad's happened, the parents went to jail because, like, look, you can't do that,
Yeah,
Yep.
well, exactly. It doesn't look like that anybody was, any authorities or anything was, they attempted to seek help outside the family. It does not look like that in any
Yeah.
way. It looked
No.
it became public knowledge when the kid or young man died and the cops had to show up. That's
Which tells me there's some old law that they had to go by that didn't do anything to the family, unless they don't care,
Well, I keep seeing, and it's always in quotes. So I'm wondering if they got it straight from like an actual quote from one of the brothers that they didn't reach out for help because it was a domestic issue. So they just didn't
Right.
like. I don't know.
It goes to show you, though, like,
2016.
something like that happened. You can guarantee there's more of that stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
And you have kids, like, you just feel so horrible because there are families and children that are stuck and they can't get help because one, they don't know how, they're too scared.
No, but then at that point, then why wasn't someone charged? They killed this guy.
Laws, they have no law. There's no
I'm
other.
try to do a deeper dive on this later, sometime this weekend or during the week.
Yeah, if you do tell them, bring it up next week.
Yeah, if I can find anything, because now I'm fascinated by it.
Me too.
And there's not a lot to find either. It's like it's very, very sparse. Like it's not.
Well, better yet, maybe there are more stories like this. Maybe we should be reporting on this stuff and get some light out there. Because Jesus Christ, that's horrible. These people should be charged.
Yes, they should. They should. Because the initial charge was.
Where'd you find the story?
I heard about it
on Esquire.com. I did a search of supernatural incidents in the news, and then it popped up, and I went to this thing on Esquire. They were initially charged with manslaughter, false imprisonment, and causing or allowing the death of a vulnerable adult.
So they were charged.
They were acquitted. They were charged, but they were never.
Was there a jury trial? Or how does that work over there?
Say that.
So I don't know how that works.
So I'm looking at vulnerable adult. I'm going to assume that's
special needs
or a mental disorder of some sort. Yeah, like a schizophrenia or something. That's what that does. Manslaughter, I mean, that just makes sense because it seems like, they were trying to cure him and he died because of what they were doing. False imprisonment, that's kind of a catch-all. They kind of throw that into a lot of sort of cases when you do that.
Anytime you tie somebody up or put them in a room.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was a jury.
There was a jury.
Yep.
So I'm wondering maybe then if there's a jury, or lawyers going for people that believe in super religious or people small villages and stuff in rural areas that are more like, because the jury process where you're selecting, they could have been eyeing for people, you know what I mean?
Then shame on the prosecution. Then they didn't do a very good job.
No.
That's horrible, though.
At the very least, there would be like an involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah,
at the very least.
This poor kid died.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Being 50 years old now, I have more of appreciation for young life. Like, it's like I lived 50 years. That's a long freaking time, and it's like. for a kid not to be able to live his life, that's horrible. Especially when he had no control over it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something that he did. It was something that somebody else did to him. That's horrible. It's disgusting.
Well, and especially because it probably was like a schizophrenia or something, and you just get them on the right medication. You get them on a good medication regimen, and I know it's tough and it takes a while. It can be done.
Shae looks flabbergasted.
No, so I feel like Tom, especially you, Google Panama Exorcism 2020.
Panama Exorcism 2020.
It's a story about 7 people.
Okay.
It's crazy because now this is like, I don't know. I just can't believe how recent some of this stuff goes on.
Oh, I can. People are crazy. And you notice how it's always white people too.
Yes, it is.
I agree, actually.
Crazy white people.
We just kill the people. Lucky you're gone. I'm kidding. We're gonna hate meal now. Some white people and black people.
Some people don't
hate us.
I love all.
And Robert the Doll.
That was a great article, by the way. That was a good.
That was a very good story.
That was really good.
Jeez, your story put my story to shame. My story was TNA. That's what I do.
I was gonna say yours was definitely in for the sex appeal.
That was a fun story. Boy, you guys just bring a damper on the life. It's all depressing now.
I mean,
people dying.
This is the Paranormal Reaper Paranormal podcast, right? Not the
TNA show.
Yeah, the TNA show.
Sorority sisters here we're banging.
Yeah, they do. Of course they do.
Yes, they do.
That's not what I meant, but okay.
Yeah,
Is there anything other than weird banging in a hostel? That's all got to be weird banging, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've stayed in
it's not banging unless it's weird.
Number of hostels across Europe I've stayed in, and yes, there is weird banging.
It's very public, very
yes.
Together. Yeah.
It's not my cut. Like I did it. I stayed in a few when I was in Europe, and it's really not my thing. I'm more of a hotel guy. I'm not gonna lie.
I watched the movie Hostel. No, I'm scared to go. I'd be scared to go to a hostel in Europe.
You would go to a girls' hostel.
Oh yeah, reluctantly, but I'd go.
Just for the slumber party. You would not reluctantly. Don't lie.
I'm the guy who would go. And if a girl wanted me to go, hey, come to my hostel, I'd be like, I'm gonna die, but sure, I'll go.
You wouldn't even go, I'm gonna die. You'd be like, all right.
It's a hostel. You don't live in a hostel. People die in hostels, apparently. Watch the movie.
I
had horrible deaths.
One in Dublin, Ireland, and it was just fun. It was just like a big party. The kids they actually hired just young kids from Dublin to run it, so they just it was just like a party every night down in there. And I stayed in one in Amsterdam. And
what's the difference between a hostel and a hotel? In a hotel.
Okay, so a hotel is essentially you have your own room, and you pay whatever it is, say $100 a night or whatever, and you pay however many beds you want, 1, 2 beds, and you have a key and everything. A hostel is essentially, it's like a hotel, except you go up in your room and there's 6 beds, and it's much cheaper. It's like maybe $10 a night, 15, or it was when I went. It was right after 9/11, so it was very cheap, and it was. You go in there, you have no privacy really, and then there's 1 or 2 bathrooms per floor. That you share with everybody.
I snore. I couldn't live in a hostel. I keep everybody awake.
Trust me, it was one of the guys I traveled with had a huge snoring issue, and then there was other people. And my first night in Amsterdam, I got food poisoning because of they don't I had eaten. We call it egg salad. They call it egg and mayo or tuna and mayo. They don't call it salad over in Europe.
That makes sense though.
I got sick from it, but it takes 12 to 24 hours a lot of times with food poisoning. So I didn't get sick until the first night in Amsterdam, and I'm throwing up in the hostel, and then I got the
That's
hostel owner. Hey, buddy, don't worry, it's all good. What'd you take? I'm like, dude, nothing. You know, it's Amsterdam, but with nothing. And oh, you could tell me, dude, it's food poisoning. Just leave me alone. I'm just retching my gut. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. So I am no longer. It was different time. I was 21 at the time. Much different time. I'm 40 now. I'm not staying in hostels. I like my own room, my own bathroom.
That's true. At our age, you don't want a hostel anyway.
No. It's when you're young. The hostels are a young man, young woman game. There.
I'd visit one if the girl was cute enough.
At any age, I would have wanted to stay in a hostel.
I said, we'll go to Europe, and you can stay in a hostel then.
Had I had more money, I wouldn't have stayed in. I'm just a broke 21-year-old.
I would have found the nearest box and slept outside. I can't. The thought of sleeping near strangers just like.
Yeah.
I know. She doesn't talk to strangers. Never mind sleep with them.
I don't. Yeah.
She hasn't slept with a stranger in years. I was wondering if she's going to get that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So on that note, you guys have any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
My final thought is you guys had better stories than me today. That's for sure. And I love Shae's story. But I want to thank you guys for what. I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
No, I was just saying hers was great.
Yeah, hers was awesome. Anytime you have a story you want to tell, no matter what we're doing, if you want to come and tell it, feel free. But I want to thank everyone for listening to our show today, today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, go to our down below, and there'll be a link to our website. Why are you laughing?
Because you said go to our down below.
Oh, is that what I said?
After your hostel trip, you said go to our down below.
That is in proper English. Go to our up down below, and you'll see a link to our website. Go to our website, and you can subscribe to our podcast because we have fun stuff. We do a lot of fun stuff. And if you're listening to our podcast through one of the podcast apps, you can, if you want to subscribe, you can go to www.podpage.com/The Reaper Paranormal Show. Subscribe. And
tell them what we're doing next week, right?
What are we doing next week?
What we talked about.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
It is the basis of
Conjuring.
Devil made me do it.
The devil made me do it.
Story. The devil made me do it. The story of the devil did me, which is a true story. The next the Conjuring 3 film is based on this story.
We should be coming out hopefully in a few months. I'm dying to see this movie. It's for the trial of the story we're going to be discussing next week. The true story. Shae is going to be leading the story, and we talked about it on our Geek channel. If you watch our Geek channel, you would have heard it. Or if you watch some of our past episodes, we actually discussed it on one of our episodes real quickly about it coming out. So check that out and tune in next week for that. So that, fun, more challenges on our Geek channel show. With Shae, Tom, and myself, you guys, thank you for listening and have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.